If you are afraid of failing, you are actually telling me that you are afraid to learn. No one in this world can know everything. No one in this world have the recipe for total success. Smart people who think they know everything can't learn. Today I want to speak about something important. You, yourself, and you. Now you might ask, what do I mean? The second thing I want to talk about is sales. Now you're probably more confused. But stay around a little and you will find that what I actually say makes sense. The first question is, who are you, yourself, and you? Now some people might think I refer to their family, where they come from, and who and what they are. But I'm not talking about that. I'm actually talking about you. Who are you? And let me put it in a better context. Who are you as a creative person? As someone who actually want to create their own films or do something very important? Now I ask again, who are you, yourself, and you? Every one of us want to do something, want to achieve something in life. How we achieve it is another thing. Let me make an example. Say someone in a business want to get a promotion. To get a promotion, you need to do certain things. You need to have certain skills. You need to be able to see problems and how to resolve problems. Now, what does this have to do with what I'm talking about as far as you are concerned? You are a business as a person, and many people don't, or most people don't realize this. You are actually two people. The one who rent yourself out to a business when you apply for a job at a business, and the other one who actually has to do the work in that business. So when the you applies for that job, you actually say that the you would have to do that work has the skills, the knowledge, and the expertise to do that work. You are a business. Every person who works for someone else is a business. And that part of you is the business should see that the work is getting done and to the quality that is expected of him or her. Still confused? Ask yourself, you want to make films? You want to write poems? You want to write a book? You want to create something? What must you do to be able to do so? What skills do you need to be able to do so? What knowledge do you need to be able to do so? You as a person might think that you can do things, but the business person inside you who actually have to do that work need to know and be assured that he or she can do that work. And if they don't know how to do it, to go out and learn the skills to do that work. As an aspiring filmmaker or writer, you cannot say that you can do it because you believe you can do it. But can the business side person of you, who actually have to do the work, do it? This is where sales come in. That sale that you make at that point in time, where you say you are going to make films, you're going to write a script, That's a sale you make to yourself as a person, as a human being. Now you can sit back and say, oh, fine, my business is going to work. But what about that person, that business person inside you who actually have to do the work? You can sell yourself, but at what cost? You see, with a sale, there's always cost involved. In a business, the business had to buy the stock first before they can sell it. So they had to pay the service provider, sometimes even before they sold that stock. And then they need to buy more stock to sell again to be able to continue the business. But if something goes wrong, that business will find itself in a crisis. Now ask yourself, what type of person do you need to get the business person inside you to do that work, or to make that film, or to write that script? You find many of our amateur filmmakers who actually are happy with the quality of product they are producing. Quality of product that draws the people they want to draw on YouTube or other social media platforms to watch their product. And they look at the number of views, the number of likes, and the number of good comments that they get. But now comes another question. Are you selling yourself to the right people with those films that you make? I'm asking again. Are you selling yourself to the right people with that quality of films that you make, that you put on YouTube or the other social media platforms where you get all those likes and all those views? Are you selling yourself to the right person, to the right people? And the question most of the time is no. And why do I say so? It is because when you look at the quality of films made by amateurs, it is not the quality that would draw the attention of really professional filmmakers, of professional studios. And those are the people whose attention you want to draw. Those are the people you want to say that you, as this business person inside you, are really good at what you are doing. That is something that many amateurs and indie writers don't look at. Why do I say so? When you look at the quality of films, you can immediately see the quality of the scripts. You can put as many films on YouTube. You can write as many scripts as you want. But it is the quality of your work that will tell people who really matters whether it would be worthwhile to take you on and train you to become a professional filmmaker. And this is what our amateurs don't understand. How to sell themselves. The second mistake that amateur filmmakers make is many measure them to another filmmaker, amateur filmmaker. They compare themselves to other filmmakers. And sometimes they would also copy the type of films other amateur filmmakers make, because that filmmaker gets more views, likes, and comments than they do. And that is why you see that, especially in the Afrikaans filmmaking community, the films are basically of the same topic or topics. An amateur filmmaker who copies other people's work because they are successful immediately tells me that they have no trust in their own skills and knowledge that they have. Which tells me also they are bad salespeople about themselves. Because if you are copying another filmmaker's work because that person is successful, you are telling me, as a person who views those films, that you don't know what originality is. And what is the function of a creative person? The main function is to create something that is original, something that will draw people's attention, something that will make people want to watch, want to read, want to see, because it is something new that is presented to them. And here comes another challenge that most of our amateurs and indie filmmakers have: the fear to experiment. That business person in them is afraid to experiment, to try something new. Because the person, the you that hired that business person, is afraid of failing. Why should you be afraid of failing? If you are afraid of failing, and if that is the reason why you are making these films that the viewers on YouTube, on other social media platforms like, then you are actually failing yourself as a seller of yourself. You are actually failing in that sale because you are telling everybody that you are afraid to think, that you are afraid to think original, that you are afraid to make mistakes, that you are afraid to learn. Everybody should actually be willing to fail. Everybody should actually learn how to fail. It is strange that there are books on how to become a successful person in business, how to be successful running your own business and starting your own business. But I've never seen a book that tells you how to fail, because no one wants to fail. No one wants to see themselves as a failure. No one wants to hear that they are a failure. And that's why many people can't see, can't realize that they are actually failing. Not other people, but themselves. If you are afraid of failing, you are actually telling me that you are afraid to learn. I'm saying again, if you are afraid of failing, you are actually telling me that you are afraid to learn. If you failed at something, it will actually help you or create the opportunity to ask, what did I do wrong? Where did it go wrong? And how did it go wrong? That is the best thing about failing. It is actually bad to see yourself as a successful person while you are actually a failure, and then blame other people for your failure. It is actually worse when you find yourself sitting in that comfort zone, especially as an amateur filmmaker or writer, where you find that there are people in your community, friends, family, people on YouTube, on other social media, who actually like what you create and try to make you do the same because they liked it. But whether they liked it or not, is it helping you to develop? And that is the other point. I don't know why this is so. But people want to believe or tell people that they know certain things even though they don't know it. They would try to create the impression that they know certain things even though they don't know it. They would actually get angry when you criticize their work because according to them, you have no right to criticize them. If you are afraid of criticism or you can't take criticism, especially good criticism, you are selling yourself short. That sale that you make at that point in time, telling yourself that that person knows nothing and you know better, you are actually selling yourself short. Why is it this so? If you start to believe that you are great because of those comments, those views, those likes you get on YouTube, you would actually start to believe it. While the opposite is actually true. That is another danger that most amateurs and indie filmmakers in this country of ours fall into. And that's why they continue to make the same type of films, write the same type of scripts, write the same kind of stories, use the same topics without them even realizing it. Because they have never ever looked at how to develop a plot and or a story, how to develop characters, how to develop the story or the plot around the character, what is important to the character, what the character wants, what the character actually needs, and how the character gets to achieve that goal of his or hers. You won't see your mistakes if you can't analyze your own writing, your own films. Now I know many people don't want to watch their own films even professionals. They make the film finish and clear. But if you don't analyze your own work without being too overcritical, you can actually learn from your mistakes. And learning from your mistakes is a very important thing to do. But most of all, the best thing that you can do is to learn from other people's mistakes. But then you find that people say, I don't want to learn from other people's mistakes. I want to make my own mistakes. Another big mistake. And another sale that can go horribly wrong. If you don't want to learn or cannot learn from other people's mistakes, you are creating even more danger for yourself. You are actually making a sale where you sell yourself short. Why should you make the mistake when you can learn from other people's mistakes and see how you can improve on those mistakes? And that is why it is so important for amateurs and indie filmmakers to watch other people's films, to watch professional films, to see what they have done right and where they have gone wrong. Your biggest sale you ever make is not selling yourself to a client, but selling yourself to yourself. Telling yourself, if my business side wants to be successful, my business side needs to be willing to learn. You might not be willing to learn as the person, but as the business side of yourself, you cannot be unwilling to learn under no circumstances. You cannot afford it. Your skills, your expertise, your knowledge can only be developed if you are willing to learn. And here's another good piece of advice. Smart people who think they know everything can't learn. So never think that you know everything. No one in this world can know everything. No one in this world have the recipe for total success. But then, as I said before, not only do you have to be willing to fail, you have to be willing to learn from your failures. It won't help to blame yourself. It won't help to blame others. You have to learn from your failures. You have to learn from other people's failures. You have to learn from what made other people successful. You have to learn by learning from those people what made them successful. That is the biggest sale you can make for yourself. You are a business. You are not a person who wants to make films. You are the business that you have to run in order to be able to achieve your goal, in order for you to achieve success. Success don't come by itself. Success is bought through hard work, through learning the skills, developing the skills, learning the knowledge, making that knowledge part of yourself, developing the expertise to do what you want to do. Not what you think you should do, but what you want to do and what you need to do. That is the price of success. And add to that the price you are willing to pay by failing and learning out of those mistakes. If you are not willing to do so, that business person in you that you need to sell to a professional studio as a writer, as a filmmaker, as a director, as a cameraman, you will never achieve. You have probably heard someone say before, especially young children, I don't want to learn from other people's mistakes. I want to learn from my own mistakes. Most amateur filmmakers, the vast majority, don't learn from the mistakes they made.